Time to expose some frauds. Ooh, welcome in to the PHNX Daily Bet Show, brought to you by the one and only DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. I'm Shane Diefenbach, joined as always by Johnny Venerable today. How are you feeling on a Saturday?
I'm
minus
good.
2 hours until Final Four.
I'm excited. Last year, we had a true fraud in the Final Four in Cincinnati. Thankfully, we are represented by only Power 5 conference schools. Thank the good football lords above. Even though TCU, it's the ugly redhead stepchild of college football in terms of the Big 12, they do deserve to be here. I will say that. I didn't want to see another SEC team forced in here. So I think this has a chance to be the best Final Four that we've gotten since the reformat of the playoff.
A year ago today, I placed one of the biggest bets I've ever placed on the DraftKings Sportsbook app, and that was Alabama to cover against Cincinnati. And it hit. That was very fun. I don't think it's going to be as easy this year.
Yeah.
But, it'll still be fun. There's a lot of good odds you can get on the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Not only can you bet on the over-unders, but you can also get a bunch of good, team props, game props, what have you, on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. So make sure to go ahead and download it. Use that promo code PHNX. And when you do sign up using that promo code PHNX, new customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game, because we got some good games tomorrow as well. And if they do win that game, when you place a $5 bet, you can get $150 in free bets instantly at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. It's safe, it's secure, it's reliable. It's the best place to make some money on player props, same game parlays. You can do same game parlays for college football or the NFL, get your profit boost up. But regardless, use the promo code PHNX when you download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. $5 on any NFL team's money line. Get $150 in free bets instantly, no matter what, as long as your team wins this week only at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions do apply. See those show notes for more details. Johnny, let's start with Georgia.
Yeah.
I think we're both in agreement here.
We are, yes. It's a generational team for the Georgia Bulldogs. Back-to-back, written all over them, at least back-to-back title game appearances. They get gifted TCU, who is clearly the worst team of, I believe, this Final Four, even more so than the Ohio State team that has played a little bit of a fraudulent schedule. So I love Ohio State to get destroyed by Georgia. -6, as do you. I love the under in this game. CJ Stroud, to me, is the worst of these new era Ohio State quarterbacks. I think he's.
Do you think Will Levis is better than CJ Stroud?
I do. I think Will Levis is a better pure thrower of the football. I think you watch a lot of Ohio State's games, and to their credit, they out-athlete everybody. You can't out-athlete Georgia. Now, I am anxious to see how Marvin Harrison Jr. plays.
Yep.
I think this is his first look. A lot of people think he's going to be the quintessential wide receiver 1 in next year's draft. But at the end of the day, Jalen Carter is going to make things a nightmare for CJ Stroud. I think this game's like 30 to 12, something like that.
Yeah, the over-under is set so high for this game because of the high-powered offense that is Ohio State. But I think the game plan is going to stop this Ohio State offense. I don't know if there's going to be a lot going for CJ Stroud, Marvin Harrison Jr., and the likes. Look, Georgia, you almost can't out-scheme Georgia because they're just bigger, faster, and stronger.
It's a generational team.
They've got bigger guys on the line. They've got better corners. Keely Ringo in that secondary is going to eat. I think CJ Stroud's going to throw at least 2 picks.
This is a defense that held, I know it was early in the year, but your guy Dilly, 3 points against Oregon.
Yeah.
13 points against what I think is a generational Tennessee team that almost made it offensively. Kentucky with Will Levis, who's going to be a top draft pick, to 6 points. Florida to 20 points. It doesn't matter what conference they play in, even in the SEC. It's like when Alabama is a step above, even in their SEC counterparts with the athletes that they have. And so many players return to this defense and this team, Stetson Bennett included, from that last year's national championship game. They've been there before. Again, I think if Ohio State were to win this game, it's one of the biggest upsets in recent memory in college football. And I'm shocked that this line is only 6 points. Against a more physical team than them in Michigan, they got run over, and that game was not competitive after a quarter. What is Georgia going to do? I know they've had a bunch of time off. Ohio State is soft. The Ryan Day era is soft. They miss, I'm going to say it, they miss Urban Meyer and company. You've started to see the trickle-down effect. They've beaten up on the mid-level shit teams of the Big Ten. They were kind of gifted this playoff spot, and it's going to be a really embarrassing look for Ohio State.
Speaking of mid-level shit teams, we got a game kicking off in 2 hours, less than 2 hours. TCU and Michigan.
Yeah.
Would you rather see Alabama in spot of one of these guys?
No, because I want to see Jim Harbaugh reach the national championship. I think he's earned that. I actually think Michigan and Georgia in the trenches kind of match up pretty well. TCU, they just came off a loss to Kansas State. When they've had to play real defenses, even in the Big 12, they have struggled, and they're living a charmed life. They're kind of like the Minnesota Vikings of college football, where their point differential not great. They could have easily lost 2 or 3 games at this point. Michigan got bored in the middle of the season and almost lost to Illinois. That's it. J.J. McCarthy, very similar to Stetson Bennett in terms of the college quarterback that they are. I don't think, even with their explosiveness on the outside, TCU is going to be able to manufacture more than 17 points, maybe 20 is where I would top them out. Whereas I think the Michigan ground game is so dominant, Shane. They've got an NFL caliber running back. Hogmolly's up front. The center for Michigan supposedly is the best center coming out in the NFL draft next spring. It's a line of scrimmage, push them around game. The only way TCU hangs in is if Michigan turns the ball over.
Well, I can see where you're going with this then, Johnny.
Yeah. Give it to me. Hammer it. Tease it up if you want. Michigan -7.5 with the under at 58. That number is way too high. I know everybody's looked at TCU against, I don't know, Kansas and Oklahoma's fraudulent program where they put up 55, inflated numbers against SMU and Baylor. But again, Kansas State with a real coach that was top 10 when they had the game, put up 31, held them to 28. I think this game is somewhere in the vicinity of like 35-10, 35-13. And I think the national championship game, if it's Michigan, Georgia, is going to be the under. I don't think we're going to get an over this entire college football playoff.
Really?
Yeah.
I disagree both ways.
Okay.
I'm taking TCU and plus the points, +7.5. Look, I don't think they'll win this game. They might, but I think Michigan's definitely the better team. I think they edge it out, but I think it's a one-possession game.
Okay.
This team plays with too much heart. I think it's going to be back and forth. Look, Michigan's going to have their way on the ground.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to score fast because of it. I don't think this game's going to be gross. Give me the over at 58.5 and give me TCU +7.5.
I think TCU throwing the football is where they have to win to win this game. I think you abandon the run game early. Unlike last year, there is no Aiden Hutchinson pass rusher extraordinaire for Michigan's linebacking core, edge rushing core. I think that Mike Morris leads the team in sacks with just 7, and they're dominant up front on early downs, and they can make you uncomfortable if they get you in 3rd and long. But if TCU is able to establish a little bit of run and then get their quarterback into 2nd and 7, 3rd and 5, they can move the chains. They've got the best wide receiver in the country, does TCU. That's the only way they're going to make it close. But, man, if they try to play Michigan's brand of football, it's going to get ugly. They're going to get run on.
Yeah, I think they're too smart to play.
They are well coached. Great program.
Yeah,
Great program.
I think these games are going to be fun. Hopefully they're not just snooze fests unders, but could happen. If you were to put another team in the college football playoff, that's not Alabama, who would be most excited?
Yeah, I mean, it would have been Tennessee about 4/5 of the season. They had the best wide receiver quarterback combination throughout the course of the year. They were fun. They put up a ton of points. We don't have a team like that in the
Hendon
Final
Hooker's
Four.
Injury sucks.
Yeah, it does, especially when you consider like he probably would have been a top 2 draft pick, second, 3rd round draft pick. But no, I don't really care to see this Bama team play. And their defense was exposed. They got beat at Tennessee.
Yeah.
So the injuries took a toll on Tennessee. They look like the darling of college football. I would have loved to have seen them, play like a TCU or a Michigan. That would have been really fun and explosive. But are we delaying the inevitable with Georgia? It feels like that. That's why I want to see Michigan in there, because I think that they have the best opportunity to upend Georgia. I don't think it's going to happen. But I read a little bit online this morning, right now on a neutral field, which it would be, the future line for Michigan and Georgia. You want to take a guess what it is?
Georgia -10.
Well, Georgia's only a 6-point favorite against Ohio State.
I think Ohio State's a better matchup.
Nah, it was 4.5 when I read it this morning, and I think that's about right.
That's what I was about to ask you. Would you rather have Michigan play them in the championship or Ohio State?
100% Michigan. Now, it would be really fun if Ohio State somehow beat Georgia and we got a rematch, Michigan-Ohio State for the national championship. we could do a stiff arm to the South, which they'd be pissed about because they wouldn't be. When's the last time we didn't get an SEC team in the college football national championship? What was it? Texas and USC? That feels like the last time, right? The infamous Reggie Bush, Vince Young game. But I root for chaos. I'd be all for it. I just don't want to see TCU upset Michigan and play Alabama because that would be the worst possible solution for a competitive game.
Yeah, T-minus 2 hours until kickoff for TCU, Michigan. Get those bets in on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Johnny, last thing, we got one more year after this until we get an expanded college football playoff format. Are you excited?
Not really.
Really?
12 is gross. 8 feels like the right amount. It will be watered down, especially when you look at the Power 5 conferences going away. One of my favorite things is to talk about who didn't get in, who's not supported. The Pac-12, they're pissed off. They didn't get anybody in this year. Now it's like, okay, I'm an 11th seed but I won the Pac-12. Like, I don't care about that. I think 8 is about right, even if you wanted to do 6 and do buys, but that would be crazy. 12 is too many. No thanks.
Gotcha. Well, you can follow me on Twitter at Shane D. If you follow Johnny on Twitter at Johnny Bennett, or follow the show on PHNX, or follow the show at PHNX_bets. Follow PHNX_sports across all socials, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Anything else before we get out of here?
PHNX Cardinals live tomorrow following the conclusion, if you can stomach it. Cardinals at Falcons. We'll have a halftime show as well.
Do you think that line gets up to 7?
It might be. It might. But, Atlanta's pretty terrible. Watch the Georgia Bulldogs. They might have a better team than the Atlanta Falcons.
Before we get out of here, actually, what are the odds for Georgia to win the Natty before these games?
I would say I haven't seen the line yet. Just guessing, I would say it's probably plus 200, maybe.
You can get exact results right now.
Just say Georgia win.
Georgia to beat Michigan's plus 145.
So I was fairly close.
Yeah,
but Michigan to win the national championship, probably what, like 500 plus 500 plus 300. Sounds about right.
Guys, it's been a pleasure as always. Have a very safe New Year's Eve. Don't do anything stupid. Light off fireworks legally if you're gonna. And don't drink too much. Drink responsibly. Guys, pleasure as always. We'll be back on Monday at noon. But until then, peace, love, and Will Levis is not a top 5 pick in the 2023.
Get off of that. Your Seahawks are going to love him.